Yellowstone National Park is home to one of the most active and dangerous supervolcanoes in the world. And while it has been dormant for thousands of years, there is always the chance that it may erupt again. But what if the opposite happened? What if the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone went completely cold? Would life on Earth still be possible, or would our entire planet be plunged into an ice age? Let's find out. The Yellowstone supervolcano is located in the northwest corner of the United States, straddling the border between the states of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. Its enormous caldera is so large that it stretches across 3 different counties. The park itself encompasses an area larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. Despite its size, the park is home to a wide variety of wildlife, including bison, elk, wolves, and bears. Visitors can also enjoy hiking, fishing, and camping in the park's many different areas. However, one should always be aware of the potential danger posed by the supervolcano, as it is capable of producing some of the largest eruptions in history. The Yellowstone supervolcano has been the site of 3 major eruptions in the past, which occurred about 2 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 640,000 years ago. These eruptions were some of the largest in Earth's history, with the most recent one covering an area of over 2,200 square miles in ash and pumice. However, the volcano has been relatively quiet since then, with only minor seismic activity occurring in the past few centuries. Nevertheless, scientists closely monitor the volcano for any signs of unrest, as an eruption could have catastrophic consequences for the surrounding area and potentially the entire planet. If the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone went cold, it could have a significant impact on the surrounding area and the rest of the planet. Magma chambers are responsible for supplying magma to volcanic eruptions. So if the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone went cold, it would mean that there would be no more magma available to fuel future eruptions. This could have a number of implications for the region. First, without the heat from the magma chamber, the area around Yellowstone could become much colder. Second, the lack of magma could cause the ground to sink in on itself, creating new lakes or valleys. Third, the area could become less seismically active, as the pressure from the magma chamber is often what causes earthquakes. All of these changes could have a major impact on the local ecosystem, as well as the infrastructure and economy of the surrounding area. In addition to the local effects, a cooling magma chamber at Yellowstone could also have global implications. You see, magma chambers are also responsible for releasing gases into the atmosphere. These gases include water vapor, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. If the magma chamber at Yellowstone went cold, it would mean that these gases would no longer be released. This could lead to changes in global climate patterns, as well as changes in the composition of the atmosphere. For example, a decrease in carbon dioxide levels could lead to a cooling effect, potentially causing an ice age. Changes in the atmosphere could also affect global weather patterns, leading to more extreme weather events. Overall, a cooling magma chamber at Yellowstone could have far-reaching implications for the entire planet. Scientists closely monitor the activity of the Yellowstone supervolcano to better understand its behavior and predict future eruptions. One way they do this is through seismic monitoring. By recording the strength and timing of earthquakes in the area, scientists can get a sense of the movement of magma beneath the surface. They can also use this data to identify any changes in the frequency or intensity of earthquakes, which could be an indication of increased volcanic activity. In addition to seismic monitoring, scientists also use GPS to track any changes in the shape of the caldera. Even the smallest changes can indicate that there is movement of magma beneath the surface. Scientists also monitor the gases that are emitted from the volcano. Changes in the amount or type of gas can indicate that the magma chamber is changing or that an eruption is imminent. Finally, scientists also use remote sensing techniques such as satellite imagery and aerial photography to monitor changes in the land around the volcano. This can help them identify any new cracks or changes in the landscape that may be related to volcanic activity. By using all of these tools, scientists can gain a better understanding of the inner workings of the Yellowstone supervolcano and better predict any future eruptions. But what if the Yellowstone supervolcano suddenly went completely cold? What would happen to the surrounding area and the rest of the planet? Well, first off, let me just say that it's highly unlikely that the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone would suddenly go cold. The reason for this is that magma chambers are formed by the accumulation of magma over millions of years. And once a magma chamber has been formed, it takes hundreds of thousands to millions of years for it to cool down completely. In other words, the cooling process is extremely slow and would not happen overnight. However, for the sake of a fun science video, let's just assume that it did happen. If the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone went cold, it would likely have a devastating impact on the surrounding area. As I mentioned earlier, the heat from the magma chamber helps to keep the surrounding rocks and soil warm, and if the chamber suddenly went cold, it would likely cause the ground to collapse in on itself. This could create new lakes or valleys in the surrounding area, as well as a lot of problems for the people who live nearby. In addition to the physical changes that would occur, a sudden cooling of the magma chamber could also have a devastating impact on the local ecosystem. Many plants and animals rely on the warmth of the magma chamber to survive. And if the chamber went cold, it could cause mass extinctions in the surrounding area. Now you might be wondering what would happen to the rest of the planet if the Yellowstone supervolcano suddenly went cold. Would we enter an ice age or something like that? Well, here's the thing. While it is true that the Yellowstone supervolcano releases heat and gases into the atmosphere that help to warm the planet, these are actually relatively small amounts compared to the overall heat and energy balance of the Earth system. In other words, even if the Yellowstone supervolcano went cold, it probably wouldn't have a significant impact on the global climate. However, there is another important factor to consider: the impact on the global carbon cycle. You see, the Yellowstone supervolcano also releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which is a major contributor to the greenhouse effect. If the volcano went cold, it would release less carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which could lead to a slight cooling effect. However, this effect would be relatively small and would likely be offset by other human-related factors, such as deforestation and the burning of fossil fuels. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if the magma chamber at Yellowstone didn't just go cold, but started to rapidly cool? What if an ice age was rapidly approaching? Well, don't worry, because that's not possible. The cooling of a magma chamber is a very slow process that occurs over millions of years. It's just not possible for it to happen rapidly. And even if it did, it wouldn't cause an ice age. You see, the Earth's climate is regulated by a number of different factors, including the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the tilt of the Earth's axis, and the amount of energy received from the sun. While the Yellowstone supervolcano does play a small role in the global carbon cycle, it's not nearly enough to cause a significant change in the Earth's climate. Now, I haven't talked about the possibility of an ice age yet. While it is true that the Earth has gone through several ice ages throughout its history, these events were caused by changes in the Earth's orbit and tilt, not by changes in volcanic activity. In addition, the last ice age ended about 11,500 years ago, and we are currently in a period of warming. So even if the Yellowstone supervolcano went cold, it wouldn't cause an ice age. So, there you have it. A cooling magma chamber at Yellowstone would likely have a devastating impact on the surrounding area, but it probably wouldn't have a significant impact on the rest of the planet. Now, of course, this is just a fun science video and not a real scientific analysis, but hopefully it gave you a little insight into what would happen if one of the most active supervolcanoes in the world suddenly went cold. What do you think would happen if the Yellowstone supervolcano suddenly went cold? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to check out my other videos on Yellowstone National Park. Thanks for watching.